Okay. Yeah. Okay. So I have been living in a village for the last year since 1st December 2015 after my landlord in Jagdalpur suddenly asked me to leave. I mean, I was living in that house on rented accommodation since January of that year, and suddenly, they asked me to leave in 1 week's time, and I could not understand the reason why, but I did not argue, and I, in any case, welcomed the idea of wanting of living in a village. So with some difficulty I found this village where there was some an empty room in a house, and I since then, like since 1st December of 2015, I've been living there. So it's now one whole year. Now this village is not very far from Jagdalpur. It's around 10 kilometers or so. But from the main road, you have to go 3 kilometers inside, and there's no public transport. So there are stretches, where like you cross a forest, you cross a pond, and so on, where there are not that many people, and so that stretch, as well as even the stretch to Jagdalpur, uh, you know, these are all spaces where something can happen to you, um, if your life is under threat. So, so therefore I try to avoid that, and I went on the 21st morning. And then what happened is that in the intervening night of 21st and the 22nd, at around 1:30 a.m., there was loud banging on the outer door of the house that I was living in. Now the door itself is quite a fragile door. It's made of tin, and it doesn't have a proper lock also. We just prop it proper bamboo below it, to hold it. And so when this loud banging happened, I came out, my landlord and his wife came out. We opened the door and we found two men there, with their faces partially covered. And they were identifying themselves to be from a neighboring village of Mauliguda. Like the village where I live in is Parpa, and they said they were from Mauliguda. And they identified themselves to be the sons of, they named the person. But actually, my landlord, who knew that village very well, said that he did not know anybody by that name. So we thought there was some problem here. And they were asking my landlord to come with them till the road. And even though our hamlet is electrified, but we don't have street lighting, so it was pitch dark, and in the darkness we could sort of make out that there were others on the road, but we could not see anything. Sensing danger, we decided that we should go inside. Therefore we went inside, and we all sat together in one room for the next hour after locking ourselves inside. And for the next hour, we could hear some sounds, but nothing happened. And at that time in the night, I could only make one call to another person in the village, just to alert somebody that something like that was happening. And after 1.5 hours or so, we heard the sound of vehicles. And at that time, we didn't really know whether these vehicles were coming or going. But then subsequently, we realized that actually they had left. And in this whole thing, I think it's also possible that, I have a pet dog. Her name is Somari. And my neighbors also have a dog. Her name is Tissy, who is also quite fierce looking. She has an impressive personality. She's a German Shepherd. Like mine is of a Desi breed. But nevertheless, I think I feel that on that night, it was because of Somari and Tissy that somewhere, I think they retreated and they did not come in. So that was that day. Now, the next day, my landlord and his sons were called to the Thana. They had already gone the previous night at 9 o'clock to their city home, and they had asked for the whereabouts of my landlord, and one of the sons had mentioned that he was in the village. And therefore the police knew that he was in the village that night. And the next day, then they spent a good part of the day in the Thana. And the day after that, which was the 23rd, at around 12:30 in the afternoon, there was this, Bolero type of white vehicle along with some motorcycles. So they came on this road, outside the house. And the road is not very far. I mean, this is a village road. And from that, there were these men who came out. Two of the men proceeded to the hand pump to drink water. Now, I was out because I was making a call and Somari was with me and she was barking at them. So then I tried to, just contain her, and I was explaining to them that don't mind, Somari won't do anything. And that is when something was said which immediately alerted me that something was about to happen. Now, what was said was that this youth who was sort of drunk, he turned round and he said, in Hindi, he said, "वो क्या करेगी मैं करूँगा." So I said, "आप क्या करेंगे?" And he said, "काट देंगे." So I realized that something was happening, and then I turned to look at the people at the road, and they were all standing in a group and looking at both sides of the road as though they were expecting others. Sensing danger, since I had a mobile in my hand, I took a snap, and immediately I was noticed, and then they came after me threateningly, and initially they were after the mobile, but somehow I was able to hide it in a place they could not find it. And then they were, at the door, then they were inside the door, and they were basically very openly threatening and saying that you have to leave immediately, you have to leave this minute, or we'll burn the house. And they were talking about kerosene cans. They were calling out at each other to get the cans. They were talking about more dire action, काटना, इस तरह का काफ़ी बात हो रहा था वहाँ पे. So I tried to argue with them for some time, but I was not, we were not sort of going. I could see that they were, they were not going to be listening to me. So finally, then I said that, okay, I'm going to come out with you this minute. And then I got a few minutes to pick up a few clothes, and that time I took the chance to speak, to call the collector and to warn him, alert him about the attack. That I told him that the attack is happening right now and they're threatening to burn. And he immediately said that he's going to look into it. So now, to cut a long story short, this went on till around 3 p.m. or 2:33 p.m. And they basically, they continuously, even though the police arrived in half an hour, their belligerence continued, the slogan shouting continued, and they were, most of those who were shouting the slogans had their faces covered. And they were shouting slogans like they were taking my name and saying Murdabad, and Bela Bhatia ko is gaon se bhagana hoga, and Naxalwad Murdabad. These kind of slogans were there. And then finally, with much difficulty, they agreed to giving me 24 hours. So between me and my landlady, they made us sign a statement that the house would be vacated in 24 hours. During that period of 2.5 hours or so, I got a chance to somehow go near the vehicle and note the vehicle number. So that was the other important piece of evidence that I was able to gather. So the vehicle number is CG 173056. So just before 3056, there was something which I could not see, but what I could see was this much. And I'm told by others that even this much, CG 17 is a Jagdalpur number, and they said this much is enough to trace the vehicle. But despite the fact that that number is available, despite the fact that I had taken that photo, and that photo has been made available to all the high-level officials who subsequently visited me, including the Home Secretary and the DIG Naxal Operations, including the collector, including the it was submitted along with the police complaint which I made on the 29th. Despite the fact that there was a video of the entire incident, because one of the police men, upon arrival, he was taking a video, shooting a video almost full time. And the very next day, a clip of that video was circulated in social media by a leading member of Agni. Agni, you may have heard, its full form is Action Group for National Integration, and they have registered themselves in, I think it's registered in Delhi, and this is an organization whose members were in the erstwhile Samajik Ekta Manch, and you may have heard about the Samajik Ekta Manch, which had to dissolve itself in the month of April in 2016. And they had to do that because they had come under a lot of criticism that time, because they had used similar means. It so happens that I have a photo, I have the vehicle number, and there is a video footage of these persons, and yet so far not one single person has been arrested. A Bastar district official, about why has nobody been arrested so far, and I was told that that will happen only if the Chief Minister wants it. So, what it means is that even though the police at the district level has all the evidence and it can arrest them and it should arrest them, they will not until they have those orders from the top. A difference needs to be understood between the old vigilante groups and these vigilante groups. The difference is this, that these vigilante groups are largely unarmed groups. During the earlier phase, that is the Salva-Judum phase, when it all began, that time there was an armed component of it, not 100%, but at least to some extent. There were some of these civilians also who were given guns. And then later, some of them became the SPOs, the special police officers. So now the thing is that in terms of having, that kind of, the local tribal who is also armed and who is with the paramilitary, that bit of their work is now fulfilled, because they are now part of the formal, force that is there. So that way, the vigilante groups need not, fulfill that requirement. So as a result, what you see is that the vigilante groups are not armed, but they are unarmed, but they continue to be the eyes and the ears of the police. They continue to, they are often described as police friends. You can very clearly through their actions see that they enjoy impunity. They are under the protection of the police, and they are basically working with the police, in very close proximity. So, for example, in the attack that happened to me, on me on the 23rd, and it was videographed by one of the policemen. The very next day, a clip from that video was circulated by an Agni member. So the question, of course, is how did he get it? That night, the Superintendent of Police, the Bastar district, along with 3 other SPs, he visited my home to take my testimony about what had happened. And that time, he was also accompanied by some Agni members. Now, what is this? This is harassment, this is intimidation, this is it's a lot more things, like it's basically lying, it's lying to the public, it's misleading the public. The Sahayak Arakshaks, meaning the constables, they had open demonstrations, in all the major towns of Bastar, including Jagdalpur. And in Jagdalpur, right outside the Kotwali, the police station of Jagdalpur, where they burnt effigies, including, effigies of 6 persons were burnt, activists and so on, including mine. Now, the newness in that was just this, effigies have been burned before. बट द न्यूनेस वॉज, आई मीन पहले लाइक मुर्दाबाद ये सब का तो नारा लगता है, मगर इस बार नया ये था कि जैसे हमेशा बोलते हैं जूता मारो सालों को, इस बार था गोली मारो सालों को. सो इट इज़ अगेन स्ट्रेट काइंड ऑफ incitement to violence. So while they may not be actually carrying a gun, they are inciting others to violence. I think now what we'll do is this bit what I was saying, what was it about the अभी जब ये सफ़ेद पोश नक्सली की अभी आईजी कलूरी बात कर रहे हैं, विच इज़ बेसिकली वाइट कॉलर नक्सलाइट्स. Now this is a new name that they have come up with, because otherwise they've tried all names. I mean, calling us just Maoists or Naxalites, Naxalite agents, which is the Naxalite dalal, that is Naxalite sympathizer, मतलब समर्थक, और अब ये सफ़ेद पोश नक्सली. तो ये बार बार हर साल ऐसा होता है. मतलब 2016 में भी यही कहा जा रहा था कि इस साल हम ख़त्म करेंगे, 2017 में भी यही कहा जा रहा है, एंड इस बार हम सफ़ेद पोश नक्सली पर खतरा है. 2017 का खतरा ऐसा बोला जा रहा है. सफ़ेद पोश नक्सली इस तरह से कहा जा रहा है कि सफ़ेद पोश नक्सली माओइस्ट से भी ज़्यादा खतरनाक है. सफ़ेद पोश नक्सली की परिभाषा क्या है? What is the definition of a white collared Naxalite? Who will define it? Is that definition in the public domain? Now the thing is that it is only the IG Kalluri and some other persons in his clique who are going to decide who is a Safed Posh Naxali. Now the thing is, like as far as I am concerned, for that matter, I know they're calling me one. They have called me all the various other names as well, and now I'm also in the Safed Posh Naxali category. Now I'm really confused because I know nobody else knows better than me about what kind of work do I do. Now I know that I'm not doing anything which is underground politics. I am very clearly, very openly, I am basically struggling and fighting for the democratic rights that are enshrined in the Constitution of India. Now, while I do that, I have to point out the mistakes of, because there's a lot of violence going on and there is a war going on. So I have to, during the course of my work, on the basis of fact findings, so on the basis of, scientific inquiry, you come to a conclusion and then you point that out. So for example, in the case of the Bijapur rape cases, the WSS found one set of facts, and based on that we concluded, and our FIR was based on those facts. But subsequently there have been many others who have gone into the same area. They've spoken to the same people, and not all of them are anywhere close to Safed Posh Naxali. कांग्रेस पार्टी गई है, सर्व आदिवासी समाज गए हैं, इस तरह के कई लोग गए हैं, सरकार की टीम्स गए हैं, NHRC गए हैं. तो क्या NHRC सफ़ेद पोश नक्सली है? आप बताइए. वो NHRC टीम ने खुद बोला है कि 16 महिला लोग का रेप हुआ है. उन्होंने अपनी जान से ये पाया. अगर CBI ताडमेटला, मोरपल्ली और तिम्मापुरम में 300 घर जलाए गए, CBI का जांच बैठा. CBI ने बहुत टाइम लिया, क्योंकि हर एक ये सरकारी जो भी इंक्वायरी होती है उसमें बहुत टाइम लेते हैं. तो न्याय तो वैसे भी होता भी नहीं है, बहुत टाइम लेते हैं. लोगों को काफ़ी तंगी होती है, बार बार उनके बयान होते हैं. At the end of the CBI, when in its charge sheet, like it acknowledged that yes, these houses were burnt. An official did give the order. And at that time, the official happened to be Mr. Kalluri, like he was the SSP that time. Now this has been said not by us. हमको तो आप सफ़ेद पोश नक्सली बोल देंगे, ये तो CBI बोल रही है. तो CBI भी क्या सफ़ेद पोश नक्सली है? तो ये इस तरह की आप एब्सर्डिटीज़ पर उतर गई है, वहाँ के बस्तर की सरकार मैं बार बार बोलती हूँ, जबकि मुझे डिस्टिंक्टली कहना चाहिए वहाँ की पुलिस. So these are, these are absurd charges, and I'm very sorry to say that they are actually crossing the line of even basic decency. Abhi, in my case, there were many individuals who tweeted to the IG, who tweeted to the SP Bastar, and the kind of responses they got. I mean, the persons who wrote were renowned, journalists. They were sometimes Supreme Court lawyers, and in reply, there were replies like, Maoists and the dogs will be kicked out of Bastar. That was one reply by the IG. There was something where somebody said that, what is happening is not within the constitutional framework, and, please stop, or whatever. And then he says something like, all this is there in the internet, so you can check, because I may, while speaking, not be able to quote completely accurately. But for example, he said, oh, this is just beginning, dear. Then in another case, again something was said, and he said, fuck off. Then I think it was the SP's quote when he said, stop bitching, or I don't know whether the original was in English or the original was in Hindi, because it was translated as कुतिया चुप हो जा. ना ये क्या है? ये किसकी भाषा है? ये किसकी भाषा है? क्या हमको इस पर गुस्सा आना चाहिए कि नहीं आना चाहिए? मैं अग्नि के लोगों से पूछना चाहूँगी, ये किसकी भाषा है? क्या आप इस देश के नागरिक हैं? क्या आप चाहेंगे कि आपके अधिकारी ये भाषा बोले? आपकी माँ बहनों से ये भाषा बोले? आप लोग क्यों नहीं ये सवाल उठाते हैं? आप लोग बार बार हम पर उंगली उठाते हैं. आपको, अग्नि को मैं पूछना चाहूँगी, सामाजिक एकता मंच जो पहले रह चुका है, ये टाइप के सभी लोगों को मैं पूछना चाहूँगी कि आप लोग अगर इतने संविधान समर्पित हैं, लोकतंत्र के समर्पित हैं, तो आप लोग क्यों चुप हो जाते हैं जब वही पुलिस, वही सुरक्षा दल जो हमारे देश के लोकतंत्र के हैं, जब वो आम आदिवासी को कत्ल करते हैं, खुलेआम कत्ल करते हैं, घर से उठा के रास्ते में जाकर कत्ल कर देते हैं. पहले तो कम से कम दिखाते थे कि मुठभेड़ हुआ है, गोली मारते थे. आजकल वो सीधे के सीधे वो छुरा लगा रहे हैं, काट रहे हैं. ये सब क्या हो रहा है? ये आदिवासी के साथ वहाँ पर हो रहा है, और आप अपने आप को आदिवासी का हित चिंतक बता रहे हैं केवल क्योंकि आपको पुलिस की कंप्लीट इम्प्यूनिटी मिल गई है, और आप किसी को भी घोषित कर सकते हैं कि ये सफ़ेद पोस्ट नक्सली है, ये दलाल है, ये वो है, ये वो. मैं यही कहूँगी कि ये गुंडागर्दी है और कुछ नहीं है. और इस तरह की गुंडागर्दी से कोई भी हम लोग में से कोई भी डरने वाला नहीं है. आप हम लोग को बुद्धू मत बनाइए कृपया करके. आप लोगों को वहाँ पे सरकार ने जिस काम पे रखा हुआ है, आप वो काम करिए और जिम्मेदारी से करिए. नहीं तो यू आर कॉलिंग अस Maoists and the dogs, and people, we'll be kicked out of Bastar. The people of Bastar will kick all of you out. Yeah. Now the point is this, that you have to ask yourself, what kind of a role would you want to play in this? I think that is for each person to decide for himself or herself. Naturally, I would think that if you feel that you are a democracy worker, pro-democracy worker, if you are a human rights worker, if you are a justice worker, then certainly I think somewhere, there are many things to do, and depending on your skills, you may decide for yourself, what you would like to do. देश में आज जो स्थिति है, वहाँ उसमें हर एक तरह के काम की ज़रूरत है. वहाँ पे ये स्थिति है कि जैसे अगर आप लोग आएंगे भी, मैं कोई आप लोगों को गारंटी नहीं दे सकती हूँ कि वहाँ पे हम कोई जगह ढूंढ पाएंगे जहाँ आप रहेंगे, कि आपके साथ में कुछ नहीं होगा, ऐसा टाइप का हम कोई गारंटी नहीं दे सकते हैं. मगर ये हर एक व्यक्ति को अपनी अपनी जगह वहाँ पे, अगर वो बस्तर आना चाहे या देश के अन्य कोई इलाके में जहाँ पे ये सब कुछ हो रहा है वहाँ जाए, आपको अपनी अपनी जगह, अपना स्थान, अपना एक तरह से माध्यम आपको ढूंढना होगा. Because see, the point is this, that we have to very clearly state that we are fearless. Even though our hamlet is electrified, but we don't have street lighting. Well, I just feel it's a lot of waste of time, and it does occupy you. I mean, you waste a lot of your time in all this instead of getting on with it, with your work. So therefore, I just feel that, you know, you give it the time that it needs. So something wrong happens, okay, you go and write a police complaint, you know, you file an FIR and you continue. So that's what I'm planning to do. I mean, they are trying to get me out of the home, which I have decided, yes, I am moving out of that home. I am moving out of that village. I had asked the collector for some temporary accommodation, which I believe has been arranged. And you know, so you take one step at a time, and you continue doing what, you know, you want to do. So I tried to argue with them for some time, but I was not, you know, we were not